What's up, everybody? This is the Doctor, Dr. Remy LeBeau, here in the X-Lair, once again to help you get through yet another day, suffering through the scourge that has plagued humanity for too many centuries, the X-Men statue withdrawal syndrome. Today I will help alleviate the symptoms, at the very least, by providing you a glimpse into this amazing statue produced by Bowen Designs of X-23 in her X-Force attire. Look at this beautiful statue. She's so small and delicate, but deadly and, well, I've already said it, but I'll say it again. Awesome! I may not have said it, actually. So I'm glad I said it. um, so this character is a really interesting character because I don't have a strong connection to this character, given that I started collecting comics in the 90s. Took a little time off in the 2000s, actually, when she was introduced, and then sort of got back into comics after she had already been in the fold for a while. Kind of missed everything that kind of made her relevant. But then did like her, did wind up liking her because she was included in the X-Force Volume 3 series that was actually very cool. So this is the first issue of X-Force Volume 3. Um, it's a really great freaking series. Um, the artwork by this guy Crane is like amazing. I think he does like watercolor or something. I don't know. It's just really incredible. Or he's really good at like digital coloring. Um, I'm sure he digitally colors himself because his work is just incredible. So Clayton Crane. Yeah, it doesn't say anything about a colorist, so I think he does it all himself. Oh, covers? Okay, anyway, I digress. Really great comic. Um, the context in which this comic appeared was post decimation, post Wanda Maximoff saying no more mutants, and the mutant population decimating down to less than 200 mutants. And certain elements were trying to exterminate the remaining mutants. And so Cyclops commissioned Wolverine to start an X Force that would, counteract this like deadly force that was being used against the X-Men. Laura Linney, that's actually her name. That Laura Kinney was commissioned to be one of the members of X Force. This is the signature sort of X Force costume of the period. The comic I think was in 2006. No, 2008. 2008 is when this comic was released. Um, the lineup was Wolfsbane, Warpath, Wolverine, Archangel, and Laura Kinney, X-23. Signature outfit, gray and black. A lot of sort of like straps all over, like the gloves and the boots. They're meant to be like a covert team. Doing like covert ops at night, whatnot, doing and ready to dish out deadly force. So the look of the costumes is like really cool. It's like a really stylistically sort of innovative look for the X-Men, something that they hadn't had before. It was always kind of like yellows and bright colors. Because the stories got dark and because this particular series got very dark as far as like the content and what the characters had to do, they darkened the colors of the costumes, and it wound up looking spectacular. And that's why there's like a whole line of Bowen statues that represent these characters. There's a Sideshow Collectibles X-Force diorama, which has her and Wolverine and Wolfsbane and Warpath. There's some Kotobukiya statues of her, of Wolverine, of Warpath, of Archangel, like in the X-Force colors. They just look really cool. So there's just like it's a really popular look to represent in 3 dimensions in statue form. So and as you can see here, she came out really nicely. This is actually a variant of this statue. The original one has her in sort of like just street clothes. She's not wearing a mask. Um, she looks really nice in that statue as well. Again, like I didn't get that one because like I'm not the biggest X-23 fan because again I missed the time where she sort of was relevant. And she's no longer relevant as far as I'm concerned. Like she's not really in any of the books that I read. Um, so this is kind of like her history. Okay, so on the production side, she was actually introduced in the X-Men Evolution cartoon. X-Men Evolution was the second version of the X-Men that was represented in the animated series. It was created after the X-Men film. I think the first X-Men film came out, which sort of changed the sort of dynamic of the X-Men um, to represent more of what was represented in the films, where a lot of the characters were younger. Um, and so because that happened and a lot of the characters were really young, there was a really sort of like high school sort of quality to it. The first season anyway, which actually was kind of like a turnoff. I think it didn't focus too much like on X lore, more on just like high school hijinks and silly crap. So it actually wasn't that great. But at one point, I'm pretty sure during the first series she was introduced, and I do remember seeing that episode, and I was like, wait a minute, is is this a character that was introduced in the comics? Well, I wasn't, because I wasn't reading comics at the time. And then it turns out that she was actually created for the show first, and then they put her into the comics. They put her into Earth 616, the Marvel Universe mainstay sort of like reality that we all grew up reading. In that reality, she was finally introduced, but Mr. So the writers of this comic, who are Craig Kyle and Chris Yost, they actually created her when they wrote the X-Men Evolution animated episode. So they actually created her, and then they wrote her in the comics. They actually wrote her into the comics. Um, I think, yeah, there was a series called NYX in 2004, which they wrote as well, and she was introduced there. And essentially, so this is her backstory. So, um, I think it was Hydra in the X-Men Evolution cartoon, but it might have been a different organization in the comics because I didn't really read the origin stories in the comics. Um, Created her as an attempt to sort of recreate Wolverine. They wanted to recreate Wolverine. They wanted to recreate his ability to sort of be uh, able to tolerate the adamantium infusion process that he went through. They couldn't find anyone that could withstand that sort of process and survive. And so they wanted to recreate him and clone him essentially. I guess there were a variety of attempts to clone him, and they didn't work out. But somehow, like with the Y chromosome making a female, it actually did work out. And so this was she was the 23rd attempt to make a clone of Wolverine, and apparently 23rd time's a charm when it comes to trying to make a clone of Wolverine. So voila, we got Laura Kinney brought into the world, and she's sort of like a very tragic figure. I guess I do kind of like her. She's not really in the stories right now. She wasn't in the stories I grew up with, so I don't feel a connection to her. But thinking about the character, thinking about her past, like you start to feel kind of like sympathetic towards the character, maybe even start to like her a bit. Um, she she grew up in like a laboratory type setting, and then she became sort of like a weapon for people, so they just kind of were training her to be a weapon. So she was always kind of, she didn't get to have a childhood. Like she's like a deadly force with absolutely no like identity besides the identity that was given to her. And so when Wolverine gets to know her, like in the X-Men Evolution cartoon, like I know Wolverine was trying to like kind of parent her into sort of becoming just a regular child. Like he kind of felt like a fatherly type of connection to her. So, and then I think that angle was taken in the books as well. And now I don't even know what's going on with her. I know she left X Force, which she shouldn't have done. When they finished the first volume, well, volume 3 of X Force, but with the first sort of new version of X Force, and then they started Uncanny X Force. She left, and then she had her own book for a while, and it was canceled. And now I guess she's in like this thing called Avengers Arena or something, where just like young Avengers are like going. I don't know. They're like fighting kind of like in a Hunger Games type of situation. I don't know. I don't read Avengers stuff. The only Avengers thing I've been reading is the Uncanny Avengers, which they sort of forced on us this like merged Avengers and X-Men team. So, and because Havoc's in it and Rogue and Wolverine, like I had to read it, and it's actually pretty good. But I'm trying to, it's like as an X fan, I try to like stay away from anything non-X related because if I don't, then I just become a like complete Marvel Universe fan, and then it gets really really expensive. It's all about money. It's not about lack of interest because I'm very interested in the Avengers and Doctor Strange and Ghost Rider and Spider Man. I'm interested in all these characters, but I just don't have the money to be like as into them as I am with the X Men. Anyway, that's my little tangent on why I'm only interested in X Men characters and why I'm not really interested in her right now because they've kind of taken her into the Avengers realm, and I'm just kind of like, leave me alone. I don't want to be pulled into that world. Damn you, Marvel. Damn you. And I love you. Maybe too much. Maybe not enough. All right. So this statue perfectly represents. Okay, first of all, amazing, amazing like comic here. Like the stories that they told were really cool, but I mean, as I mentioned, like there's something really special about this Mr. Crane's artwork. Like so after he left this comic, he did some Carnage, like miniseries, and like they're in the same exact style, and they look like they're painted, and the art is just beautiful. Um, so Laura is obviously in this comic, and here's like a couple of frames where you see her, and it looks just like she looks in the statue, of course, because Bowen Designs always hits the mark. There she is. Look at that beautiful artwork. Um, and I mean, and just like a side note, like here's Bastion, who's actually Master Mold, like turned human after he went through the Siege Perilous. Look at that paint. It looks like it's a painted work of art. Um, but yeah, we got some more Laura Kinney here, like doing some killing. There she is with Wolverine, and it's bloody and it's awesome, and it's X Force, and that's what we're seeing in the statue. We're seeing this amazing sort of representation of Laura Kinney, not Laura Linney, um, in her X-Force uniform. It's a very simple statue because she's like a very simple character. She's a young girl, so she's small. So you can see, so you can't really see the extent to which this statue's base sort of goes down. It goes down quite a bit. So Bowen Designs has like so part of their contract with Marvel is that they have to hit the 1 foot mark on the size of the statues they produce. And so because she's such a small character and they actually are interested, Bowen is interested in representing characters to scale so that you can display them together and it makes sense as far as like being consistent with the character designs in the comics. So because Bowen needed to hit the mark with this statue, they made an incredibly huge riser. So a lot of what this statue is just base. It's just like thick base that kind of elevates her. Um, the statue itself was produced last year, 2012. It was sculpted by some dude named Ulysses Cantu. Nice job, Ulysses. And there were 480 of these made, and this is number 192. As you can see, it's sculpted really nicely. The base is the X base, and it's the base that we've seen from other X Force characters. I don't have other Bowen produced X Force statues. I only have like customs and stuff. So this is actually the base that Wolverine has. It's the base that Deadpool has. I might be oh no, Warpath. They made a Warpath, and it's the same base. It's like the black X base with like the red cutout. So it's very nice. So as a set, they're really nice. I don't have the full set. Other people do, and they've posted photos online. So try to find those. They look great. Okay, so the boots really nicely done. There's like a lot of detail in it, and this is one of the things I really like about the boots. Like it's got like all these X's on it, um, and they're just like straps, but they're just more X's, sort of hidden within the standard design of like what the character's wearing, which is beautiful. They're not emblems, but they're X's. What's interesting about this character, given that she's a clone of Wolverine, is that she's not a perfect clone. So she doesn't have 3 claws in her hands. She only has 2, but she has a claw on her foot. And I think I mean, you can see close-ups of of this statue on my blog, X-Men Statues of Future Past .blogspot.com. You can link to it from my YouTube channel's homepage. You can also link to it from the description. You can also click on it um, via the description for the statues video. Um, and I've taken a lot of close-ups of the various cool elements of the statue. But they did a really nice job with the claws because they kind of chromed them. They gave them like a chrome paint job, which is great because her claws are laced with adamantium, just like Wolverine. Like I said, she was an attempt to be able to sort of duplicate his ability to withstand that sort of process, and so she wound up getting the same adamantium on her bones, and so she's as indestructible as Wolverine. So the claws look really nice. The rest of like she's a really petite gal, but they did a really nice job of like the pants look great. She's got an exposed navel, which is done really nicely. The shirt is very nice. It's got a lot of design, and there's like some stripes in the top of the shirt, very nice. Her gloves go all the way up above her elbows, and they've got all the straps and all the sort of the padding that is again reflective of the character design within the X-Force comic. Very cool looking design, very cool looking costume, very well executed in this statue. But I think the best part of this statue is her face. She's just got like this beautiful look on her face. She's like, "Hi, my name's Laura Kinney, and I am a really sad character that's gonna kill you if you screw with the X-Men." And yes, that's the exact voice that she has. In case you were wondering what she sounded like, that is the voice. It's kind of like an old Jewish woman with claws. Um, anyway, uh, the face is beautiful. You saw the mask looks really nice. They did a really nice job in the lips and the she's got a glossy sort of lipstick color going. Nice work. Really like the hair. It's like flowing off to the side. It's actually a lot more dynamic, I think, in the other statue of her. But whatever. It looks great on this one as well. Overall, it's a really nice piece. As I've mentioned before, I don't have a strong connection to the character. I got her because I wanted to include her in my X-Force display, but I'm actually on the fence about whether or not to keep her. I have I've got like over 60 statues. And as a collector, you have to make decisions about what you want and what you don't want. Sometimes you'll buy stuff and then it really just takes like having it in your home in the display to make that final decision. I'm on the cusp of making the decision to sort of put her um, get her out of my collection because I just don't have room for everything, and I've got other stuff coming in. And what's really great about this hobby, for those of you that are just getting into it, is that these statues maintain their value. If you take care of them and you keep the box, you got to keep the box and make sure the box is kept in good condition as well. Um, you can resell them on eBay. You can resell them on the statue forums, statueforum.com, statuemarvels.com, statuecollectors.com, sideshowcollectors.com. Uh, and people will pay for them what you paid for it, or they might even pay more for it sometimes, depending on what the market value is. And you can always check the market value on eBay. Go to completed listings, and that, or like sold listings, and that should give you an idea of what a particular statue is selling for. So, uh, as a person that might just be coming into this hobby for the first time, you're not just buying things that are going to lose their value. If you take care of them, it's kind of like an asset, like any kind of asset. It holds its value over time. It might increase in value. You just have to take care of it, and there's always a market for it, a secondary market for it. All right, folks, I think that pretty much covers everything I wanted to say about this particular statue. I don't know if I've given it enough spin, so I'll just give it one last spin here. Again, you can check out my blog for some more pics. I want to thank you all for checking out my stuff, for your support. I'm really appreciative of that. My blog is, again, X-Men Statues of Future Past.blogspot.com. I've got all my statues that I've managed to post uh, on a column in the first page of my blog. Any page that you're on, if you look to the top left, it says collection posts, and it's got all of the statues that I have in my collection that I've managed to post with videos and photos in alphabetical order. So if you're looking to sort of examine what other statues are out there and just get a closer sort of glimpse, you can do that very easily there. So that's available for you. Um, Thank you for checking out my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is Dr. Remy LeBeau's X-Layer. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribing is a really excellent and easy way for you to sort of keep up on my own updates, as I will be not only uploading videos of individual statues, but I'm doing like comparison videos and I'm doing like display option videos. And I'm doing a few other things later. So there's like all sorts of videos that are going to be coming up. If you're interested in X-Men statues, hopefully I'm keeping you engaged or maybe informed. Um, Either way, thank you for watching this video and your support. And just the last thing I'd like to say is that for all of you out there that have a box in front of you and you're thinking of putting an X in it, I would suggest you do that because ain't nobody checking me. All right, folks. Thanks again. See you next time. Bye bye.